One of the first things that I want to show you is how to correct for exposure in Photoshop. So in this particular image that I have here, I will go ahead and create layers, which will appear here. So each time I change the appearance of my image, it shows up as layers. If layers is not showing up in your workspace in Photoshop, you go up to Window and you make sure that layers is selected. So if I deselect this, layers will go away. I go back up to Window and I make sure that layers is selected, and it shows up as a tab somewhere down on the bottom on the right hand side of your workspace. Photoshop aligns the images up on the top. So right now I have 3 images. On the left hand side you have your toolbar. On the right hand side you have your layers. You click on channels, and I will go over this. You use this when you're adding masks to your images. So you always should have your layers tab open. One of the things that I notice about this image is that I think it might be too light, and maybe I overdid it with the pink that I added back in Camera Raw. But one of the first things that I want to check, and one of the easiest things, is going to be to go down to this icon. It's a circle that's half black and half white. It's a create a new fill or adjustment layer. Once you click on this icon, you have, and you scroll down, you have many options to correct exposure, contrast, and color for your images. One of the easiest things to do in this adjustment layer command is go up to levels, and it will bring up your properties for your histogram. So this is levels, and you can see that I went down to my adjustment layer icon and a new layer showed up with levels. If I make a mistake, if I overdo it with this image, I could just take this levels layer, grab it, and throw it in the garbage. So I want to work with levels, so I'm going to bring that back up. What it shows you is your histogram. All the way to the left is your pure black. All the way to the right is your pure white. So the measurement of pure black will be 0. Pure white will measure to be 255. If you're working with levels and you ever see space on this side of your levels, that means that your pure white is actually not being recorded by Photoshop, because the information starts here, but Photoshop is registering your pure white with this slider here all the way to the right. So one of the easiest things to do when you're correcting for tonality is to drag this slider in, so then to the point of where your information is starting. Over on my black side, there is information here. This is usually representing 1 pixel. I'm not going to drag this, for example, to a point where I'm going to be clipping all my information, because then your image is going to be compressing details in the black areas. So you never want to do this, for example, because you're going to have a lot of color distortion. You're going to be ruining the quality of your image, and you're going to be squishing those pixels together to the point where you lose information. So it is best to keep your sliders to the point before that mountain of information starts. And that's what I did here. And to see the before and after, you toggle this eyeball. This indicates the layer visibility. So this is before and this is after. And you can see that my image is a lot punchier. It's a lot brighter and it stands out. So I'm going to go ahead and do a layers adjustment with levels. Again, you can see this is my pure black, this is my pure white. In here, you can see there's space. So where the black of my image actually starts is being read by Photoshop incorrectly, and the same with my white. My white of my image is starting here, so you can reset where the white part of your image, the whites and the highlights and the shadows are. And if I toggle with before and after, you can see that a lot more information has picked up. There's going to be times where you want to adjust these so it's not so much about contrast. Maybe you want your image to be softer, and that's always going to be a personal choice. So this toggles the layer on and off, and I'm going to go to my third image and do the same. Go to my adjustment layer icon, go to levels, and here you could see I really can't bring this in because then I'm going to be squishing all the pixels that I have on my histogram, but I have space here to bring this in to reset the white areas.